Welcome to Law Crest USA, your trusted source for real American law, immigration facts, and legal awareness, explained in simple and practical terms. Today's topic is one that millions of people around the world face every year: a U.S. visa refusal. You've dreamed of traveling, studying, or working in the United States. You've prepared your documents, paid the fees, and finally stood before the consular officer at the embassy. But then, after a short interview, you're handed a paper that says visa refused. It's one of the most disappointing and confusing moments, and most applicants walk away wondering what went wrong. In this video, we're going to explore in detail why US visas get refused, what laws govern these decisions, and what you can do next. Understanding this process can be the difference between rejection and approval. Every visa decision made by a U.S. consular officer is based on the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, the main body of U.S. immigration law. The most common reason for refusal is Section 214B of the INA, which states that every applicant for a non-immigrant visa, like a visitor student or temporary worker, is presumed to be an intending immigrant until they can convince the officer otherwise. In simple words, that means the officer believes you want to stay in the U.S. permanently, unless you prove strong ties to your home country. These ties can be your job, your family, your property, your studies, or anything that shows you will return after your trip. If the officer isn't convinced, your visa will be refused on the spot under 214B. But 214B isn't the only section that matters. There's also Section 221G, which means your case needs further administrative processing, maybe for background checks or missing documents. It's not always a denial, but it can take weeks or even months to get resolved. Then there's Section 212A. This is serious because it covers ineligibility grounds, like previous overstays, criminal records, fraud, or misrepresentation. If you fall under this section, you might be permanently barred from getting a visa, unless you apply for a waiver. Understanding which section applies to you is the first step to fixing your situation. Now, let's talk about why most applicants are refused. Many people assume it's all about money, but that's not true. Visa officers look for credibility, not wealth. They assess your overall situation. Are you being honest about your purpose of travel? Do you have a stable life in your country? Are your documents consistent with your story? For example, if you say you're traveling for tourism but your bank account shows only recent deposits, that raises questions. Or if your answers sound rehearsed or memorized, it signals dishonesty. Visa interviews are short, usually less than 2 minutes, but in those few moments, officers make life-changing decisions based on your attitude, confidence, and honesty. Let's go deeper. Under U.S. law, the consular officer has complete authority to approve or deny a visa, and their decision is final. You cannot appeal most refusals, and there's no higher office to review their judgment. That's why preparation matters so much. You must clearly explain your purpose, your travel plan, and your intent to return. Officers are trained to detect deception and inconsistencies instantly. They look at your eye contact, your tone, your paperwork, and your story. Even one small contradiction, like giving different answers about your job or travel plans, can trigger a refusal. But here's what most people don't know. A visa refusal doesn't mean a lifetime ban. You can always reapply. However, you need to fix what went wrong before doing that. If you were refused under 214B, reapplying with the same situation will just lead to another denial. You need to strengthen your case, for example, by getting a better job, showing stronger financial records, or traveling to other countries first. If your refusal was under 221G, follow up patiently and submit whatever documents they request. And if it was under 212A, consult a legal expert about applying for a waiver or rehabilitation. Another common mistake applicants make is relying on agents or visa consultants who promise approvals. Let's be clear, no one can guarantee a U.S. visa. The process is entirely based on U.S. law and your personal credibility. Paying someone to fake documents or prepare false statements can destroy your future chances forever. U.S. embassies share data globally, and once you're marked for fraud or misrepresentation, it's nearly impossible to recover. Always prepare honestly, even if your case is weak. Honesty can earn you respect, and sometimes officers will advise you how to improve for next time. Now, let's discuss how to prepare for a visa interview effectively. First, know your purpose. Be clear whether you're going for tourism, study, work, or a conference. Second, know your documents. Understand what you've written in your DS-160 form. Many applicants forget their own details, which makes them look suspicious. Third, maintain a calm and respectful attitude. Don't argue, don't beg, and don't over-explain. Just answer confidently and honestly. The officer's goal is to assess whether you'll return after your visit, so focus on proving that through your answers. Mention your job, your family, your commitments, or your future plans in your home country. 2. Another major reason for refusal is the lack of financial proof or inconsistent bank statements. The embassy wants to see that you can afford your trip without overstaying or working illegally. If your funds suddenly appear right before the interview, it looks suspicious. Show genuine savings and financial stability. For students, a consistent academic record and a clear study plan are crucial. For tourists, a well-planned itinerary and previous travel history help. For workers, strong employment letters and company documents make your case credible. There are also cases where people are refused even after having strong documents. Why? Because they fail to communicate effectively. Remember, the interview isn't about papers, it's about your story. You have to connect your documents to your intent. For instance, saying I want to visit my brother isn't enough. Explain why, for how long, and when you plan to return. Small details build trust. Now, let's talk about what happens after refusal. When your visa is denied, the officer gives you a refusal sheet that mentions the section of law under which your visa was refused. Letter is your key to understanding what went wrong. Keep it safe and analyze it carefully. If you're planning to reapply, make sure your DS-160 form is consistent with your previous one. The US system saves your data, so they will know if you change your answers. Consistency builds credibility. Another type of refusal happens under administrative processing 221 grams. When your case is put on hold for security clearance or additional documents, it's frustrating, but it's not a rejection. Sometimes it's random, sometimes it's due to your field of work, nationality, or background. The best thing to do is to stay patient and respond promptly when they contact you. Now, let's discuss visa refusal myths that mislead people. Myth number 1. If someone sponsors me, my visa will be approved. Wrong. Sponsorship helps, but doesn't guarantee anything. The officer looks at your ties, not your sponsors. Myth number 2. If I pay more, I'll get it faster. Wrong again. Visa fees are fixed by law. No one can fast-track or influence the decision. Myth number 3. Once refused, I can never get approved. Also false. Many applicants get approved later once their situation improves. The key is learning from mistakes. For example, one student was refused twice under 214B because he couldn't prove he would return after studies. The third time, he showed a stronger job offer from his home country, explained his research plan clearly, and got approved. Another tourist was refused because her travel plan was unclear. She reapplied with a better itinerary and a sponsor letter from her company, and got her visa. These real stories show that improvement and honesty can turn things around. In the end, remember this: a visa officer is not your enemy. They are trained to protect us borders, but also to approve genuine travelers. Their job is to judge your intent, not your worth. If you approach your application with honesty, clarity, and confidence, your chances increase dramatically. So, what should you do if your visa was refused? First, don't panic. Read the refusal letter carefully. Understand the section. Fix your weak points. Wait a reasonable time before reapplying, especially if nothing in your situation has changed. Second, never lie or manipulate information. The system keeps records, and dishonesty will hurt you long term. Third, educate yourself, know your rights, understand the law, and prepare like a professional. At Law Crest USA, our goal is to simplify complex legal topics so you can make informed decisions. Visa refusal doesn't mean failure, it's just feedback from the system. Learn from it, improve your case, and try again. Remember, the US immigration law is strict but fair, and knowledge is your strongest tool. So stay tuned, because in upcoming videos, we'll discuss how to reapply after a refusal, how to write a strong visa explanation letter, and how to avoid red flags during interviews. Subscribe to Law Crest USA and turn your rejection into success, because the law is not meant to scare you, it's meant to guide you.